You! Don't you dare touch that with your dirty hands. The crystal vase froze mid-air between Lena's fingers. Sonia's voice cut through the marble hallway like a whip crack, sharp enough to make the other house staff scatter into shadows. Lena's hands trembled, not dirty, never dirty, but she set the vase down anyway, stepping back as Sonia's heels clicked closer, each step a small violence. Do you know how much that costs? Sonia's perfume arrived before she did, expensive and suffocating. More than you'll earn in 5 years of scrubbing floors. Lena kept her eyes down. She'd learned that looking up only made it worse. I'm sorry, ma'am. Sorry. Sonia laughed, cold and bright. You people are always sorry. The words hung there, sharp and deliberate. You people. What Lena didn't know, what she couldn't know yet, was that this moment would come back. That these same words would be thrown again, in this same hallway, but the power would shift. The humiliation would reverse. But that comes later. For now, Lena just stood there, invisible again, while Sonia swept past her like she was furniture. Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have something to ask you. If you believe in the power of stories that show us we're not alone, stories about dignity, about being seen when the world tries to make us invisible, then please subscribe. Your support doesn't just keep this channel alive, it builds hope. It gives voice to the women and children who've been told they don't matter. And let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing you're out there listening. Now let's continue. Lena had been working in Adabo's mansion for 8 months. 8 months of moving through rooms like a ghost, cleaning what was already clean, organizing what was already perfect. The house was beautiful, all glass and marble and furniture that looked like it had never been sat on. But it felt empty, like a museum, like no one actually lived there. Adabo was rarely home. When he was, he didn't speak to her, didn't look at her. She was part of the background, just another piece of expensive nothing. That suited Lena fine. She'd learned a long time ago that being invisible was safer than being seen. She worked quietly, efficiently. She asked for nothing, expected nothing. But there was one place in the mansion that felt different. The study. At night, when Adabo was away on business trips, which was often, Lena would slip into his study. Not to snoop. Not to steal, just to read. The shelves were full of books, business strategy, economics, history, philosophy, books that weren't hers to touch, but she touched them anyway, carefully, reverently. She'd sit in the corner with a small lamp, reading words that made her feel less small. She told herself it didn't matter, that no one knew she could understand these things, that no one asked. Being underestimated, she'd learned, was a kind of armor. Then came the night everything shifted. Adabo's company was bleeding money. Millions disappearing from accounts no one could explain. The best financial consultants in the country had examined the books and found nothing. Adabo paced his study like a caged animal, frustrated, exhausted, on the edge of losing everything he'd built. Lena was cleaning, invisible as always, but she'd been listening, and she'd been thinking, "It's your operations manager." The words slipped out before she could stop them. Adabo turned slowly, like he'd forgotten she could speak. "What did you say?" Lena's heart hammered. She should apologize, should step back into silence, but something in her refused. "Your operations manager," she repeated quietly. "He's routing payments through shell suppliers. The amounts are small enough not to trigger alerts, but they're consistent. If you check the vendor contracts against actual delivery logs, you'll see the gaps." Silence. Adabo stared at her like she'd just appeared out of thin air. "And you know this, how?" "I read," she said simply. "Your books." At night. He should have been angry. Should have fired her for touching his things. Instead, he laughed, short, bitter, disbelieving. "If you're right," he said, shaking his head, "I'll marry you." It was a joke, a throwaway line born of frustration. But Lena looked at him, really looked at him, and said nothing. 3 days later, the operations manager was arrested. The money trail was exactly where Lena said it would be. Adabo stood in his study, holding the evidence, and for the first time in 8 months, he truly saw the woman who cleaned his floors. And that terrified him more than losing millions ever had. The morning after the arrest, Lena arrived at the mansion expecting to be let go. Instead, Adabo was waiting for her in the study. "Sit," he said. It wasn't a request, but it wasn't cruel either. Just direct. The way someone speaks when they're used to being obeyed. Lena hesitated. House staff didn't sit in the study. Didn't sit anywhere near the employer, really. But Adabo gestured to the chair across from his desk, so she sat, perched on the edge like a bird ready to fly. "You saved my company," he said. "I just noticed a pattern, sir." "Don't do that." His voice was quiet but firm. "Don't shrink yourself. You saw what a team of experts missed. That's not luck. That's intelligence." Lena didn't know what to say to that. Praise felt dangerous, like something that could be taken away. Adabo leaned back in his chair, studying her with an expression she couldn't read. "I need someone I can trust," he said finally. "Someone who sees things others don't. I want you to review my quarterly reports. Flag anything that feels off." "Sir, I'm not asking you to be an accountant. I'm asking you to do what you already did. Look, think, tell me the truth." The truth. Lena had spent years learning to keep her truths to herself. To smile politely and say yes, ma'am, and no, sir, and never, ever offer an opinion that wasn't asked for. But Adabo was asking. "Okay," she whispered. Something shifted in his expression. Relief, maybe. Or respect. "Good," he said. "We start tomorrow." Tomorrow became every day. Every evening, after the other staff left, Lena would enter the study. Adabo would spread financial documents across the desk, and she would read. Sometimes for hours. He never rushed her. Never hovered. He'd work on his laptop, and she'd work through his numbers, and the silence between them felt easy, comfortable, dangerous. Because somewhere in those quiet evenings, something was growing that neither of them acknowledged. He started asking her opinion on things beyond finances. Business strategies, partnership proposals, decisions that would shape his company's future. "What do you think?" he'd ask. And Lena, who'd spent her whole life being told her thoughts didn't matter, found herself speaking. Carefully at first, then with more confidence. Adabo listened. Actually listened. He'd nod slowly, process her words, then make his decision, often in her favor. Their hands never touched. He never flirted. Never crossed a line. But the space between them hummed with something neither dared name. Sonia noticed. Of course she noticed. She started appearing at the mansion more frequently, unannounced. Her presence a reminder of where Lena belonged in the hierarchy of things. "Still here?" Sonia would say, breezing past Lena in the hallway. "I thought you only cleaned during the day." "Mr. Adabo needed help with some documents," Lena would reply, eyes down. "Documents?" Sonia's smile was all teeth. "How helpful of you." The word helpful dripped with venom. One evening, Sonia cornered Lena in the kitchen. "Let me be clear," she said, her voice low and precise. "Adabo and I are getting engaged next month. Whatever little fantasy you're building in your head while you dust his books, end it." Lena's throat tightened. "I don't know what you mean, ma'am. Don't play stupid. I see the way you look at him. Like you're equals." Sonia laughed, sharp and cruel. "You're staff, sweetheart. You'll always be staff. Men like Adabo don't marry women like you. They use you, then they forget you." The words landed like stones. Because part of Lena believed them. Part of her had always believed them. That night, back in the study, Adabo asked her a question about supplier contracts. Lena answered, but her voice was smaller than before. Adabo looked up from his laptop, frowning slightly. "Are you all right?" "Fine, sir." "Lena." She met his eyes. Just for a second. And in that second, she saw something that made her chest ache. Concern. Not the polite concern of an employer. Something deeper. Something real. "I'm fine," she repeated. But they both knew it was a lie. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love for you to join our community. Through these stories, we shine light on the invisible, the overlooked, the underestimated. Your subscription helps us continue building hope for women and children everywhere who've been told they don't matter. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from. You're not alone in this. It happened on a Tuesday night. Lena had been working late again, reviewing a contract Adabo needed finalized by morning. She'd finished around midnight, gathered her things, and headed toward the staff quarters, but realized she'd left her notebook in his bedroom, where she'd been organizing some personal files earlier. She knocked. No answer. The room was dark. He must have already gone to bed in one of the guest rooms, something he did when he worked too late to climb the main stairs. Lena slipped inside quietly, using the dim hallway light to navigate. She found her notebook on the side table, grabbed it, turned to leave, and then she heard the water stop. Her heart dropped. The bathroom door opened. Steam poured out, and then Adabo stepped through, towel around his waist, water still dripping down his shoulders. They both froze. "I'm sorry, I didn't know, I'll just..." Lena backed up quickly, too quickly, and her foot caught on the edge of the rug. She stumbled. Adabo moved on instinct, reaching for her, catching her before she fell. His hands gripped her waist. Her palms pressed flat against his chest. They collided, and somehow, accidentally and possibly, their lips brushed. Just a touch, barely a kiss, a whisper of contact that lasted less than a heartbeat. But it burned. Lena gasped and jerked back like she'd been shocked, her eyes wide with horror. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean." "Lena, I should go. Wait." But she didn't wait. She couldn't. She turned and fled from the room, clutching her notebook like a shield, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might crack her ribs. Behind her, Adabo stood frozen in the doorway, his hands still raised, her name dying on his lips. Neither of them slept that night. The next morning, Lena moved through the mansion like a shadow. She avoided the study, avoided the hallways where she might run into him. She scrubbed floors that didn't need scrubbing and organized closets that were already perfect, anything to keep her hands busy and her mind blank. But she couldn't stop feeling it, his hands on her waist, the warmth of his skin, the impossible softness of that accidental touch. It didn't mean anything, she told herself. It was an accident. He doesn't, we can't. But her heart didn't listen. By afternoon, the rumors had started. Staff whispered in corners, exchanged glances. Someone had seen Lena leaving Adabao's bedroom late at night. Someone else had noticed how much time they spent alone together. The stories grew teeth. By evening, Sonia had heard them. She arrived at the mansion like a storm, heels clicking violence against marble, her rage barely contained beneath designer composure. Lena was in the kitchen when Sonia found her. "You have some nerve," Sonia hissed, slamming the door behind her. Lena's hands stilled over the dishes. "Ma'am, don't lie to me. You were in his bedroom. At midnight. I forgot something. I didn't know he was." "You think I'm stupid?" Sonia's voice rose, sharp and cutting. "You think I don't see what you're doing? Throwing yourself at him, playing the helpless little victim who needs saving? That's not. He's mine." Sonia stepped closer, her eyes cold and hard. "We're getting engaged next month. His family has already approved. You are nothing. A cleaner. A nobody. And if you don't stay in your place, I will make sure everyone knows exactly what you are." Lena's throat closed. She wanted to defend herself. Wanted to say it was an accident, that nothing happened, that she would never. But the words stuck. Because part of her, the part that had felt his hands, his warmth, that impossible moment, wanted it to mean something. And that made her dangerous. Sonia saw it in her face. "I'm warning you," she said softly, each word precise as a knife. "Stay away from him, or I'll destroy you." That night, Adabo came to the study. Alone. Waiting. But Lena didn't come. She'd requested a transfer to the day shift. Different hours. Different responsibilities. Anything to avoid being alone with him again. When he received the request the next morning, Adabo stared at it for a long time. Then he made a decision that would break both their hearts. Because he knew Sonia. He knew what she was capable of. And he couldn't let Lena pay the price for something he wanted but couldn't have. The staff meeting was called without warning. Everyone gathered in the main hall, cleaners, cooks, drivers, gardeners, standing in awkward clusters while Adabo stood at the front, his expression carved from stone. Lena felt it before he spoke, the coldness radiating from him like winter. "There have been rumors," Adabo said, his voice flat and professional. "Inappropriate rumors about relationships between staff and management. Let me be clear, this household operates on strict professional boundaries. Anyone who cannot maintain those boundaries will be reassigned." His eyes swept the room, landed on Lena for just a second, then moved away like she didn't exist. "Lena," he continued, and her name in his mouth felt like a slap. "You'll be reassigned to the guest house. Your evening duties are terminated immediately. Someone else will handle the study." Silence. Lena's chest tightened. She couldn't breathe. Around her, staff exchanged glances, some pitying, some satisfied. The message was clear. She'd overstepped, been put back in her place. "Any questions?" Adabo asked. No one spoke. "Good." Dismissed. The crowd dispersed. Lena stood frozen, her hands trembling at her sides. She wanted to scream, to demand why, to ask if that moment in his bedroom, that accident, that breath of possibility, meant nothing. But she already knew the answer. Men like Adabo didn't choose women like her. Sonia had been right all along. Later that evening, Sonia appeared at the mansion, all smiles and victory. She found Adabo in his study and kissed him in the doorway where staff would see. Lena, passing by with cleaning supplies, saw it. Saw the way Sonia's hand curled possessively around his neck. Saw the way Adabo didn't pull away. Something inside her cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet, irreversible breaking. 2 weeks later, Lena submitted her resignation. Not just from the guest house duties, from the entire estate. She wrote it simply, professionally. Thank you for the opportunity. I've found another position that better suits my needs. I'll complete my 2 weeks' notice as required. She didn't ask for a reference. Didn't ask for anything. When Adabo received the letter, he read it 3 times. Then he set it down and stared at nothing. He'd done what he had to do. Protected her from Sonia's wrath. From scandal. From being collateral damage in a world that would destroy her for daring to be seen with him. This was the right choice. The safe choice. So why did it feel like he'd just made the worst mistake of his life? Lena's last day came quietly. She packed her few belongings in a small bag. Said goodbye to the other staff. Walked through the mansion one final time, memorizing rooms that had never truly been hers. She passed the study. The door was closed. She didn't knock. At the front gate, the security guard wished her well. She thanked him and stepped onto the street, leaving behind the only place where someone had ever asked her opinion, where someone had ever truly listened. She didn't cry. Not yet. She just walked. 3 months passed. Lena found work at a hotel across the city. The pay was better. The hours more predictable. No one knew her story. No one asked her to think beyond her duties. It should have been easier. It wasn't. Because at night, alone in her small rented room, she felt it. The nausea, the exhaustion, the strange tenderness in her body that she'd been ignoring for weeks. She bought the test on a Tuesday, took it on a Wednesday, stared at the 2 pink lines on Thursday morning while the world tilted sideways. Pregnant. Impossible. Except it wasn't impossible. That night, the bathroom, the stumble, the accidental collision. What came after, what neither of them spoke about but both remembered. The moment they'd almost pulled apart but didn't. The moment that changed everything. Lena sat on the edge of her bed, the test clutched in her trembling hands, and made a decision. She wouldn't tell him, wouldn't beg for a place in his world, wouldn't be the scandal that proved everyone right about women like her. She'd survived this long on her own. She'd survive this too. But across the city, in a mansion that felt emptier every day, Adabo stood in his study, surrounded by financial reports he couldn't focus on. And for the first time in his carefully controlled life, he admitted the truth. He'd made a terrible mistake, and he had no idea how to fix it. The crisis came 6 months later. Adabo's company was under investigation, fraud allegations from a competitor trying to destroy him. He needed documentation from 3 years back, records that had been archived improperly, files only one person had ever truly understood. Lena, his lawyer, made the call. We need her to testify, to verify the document trail. Without her, we lose everything. Adabo closed his eyes. He hadn't seen her in 6 months. Hadn't allowed himself to look for her. Hadn't let himself wonder if she thought about him the way he thought about her. Constantly, achingly, like a wound that wouldn't close. But now he had no choice. The meeting was scheduled for Friday. Neutral ground. A conference room downtown. Adabo arrived early, pacing, rehearsing words he'd never say. Then the door opened, and Lena walked in. She'd changed. Her hair was longer. Her clothes different, professional, carefully chosen. She carried herself with a quiet confidence that hadn't been there before. But it was her body that stopped his breath. The curve of her belly, unmistakable beneath her dress. Pregnant. Very pregnant. The world narrowed to that single, impossible truth. Adabo stood frozen, his prepared words dissolving into nothing. Lena met his eyes for one brief, devastating moment, then looked away. Let's keep this professional, she said quietly. I have the documentation you need. The meeting lasted 2 hours. Lena answered every question with precision, her memory flawless, her explanations clear. She verified documents, timelines, transactions. She gave them everything they needed to win. And through it all, Adabo couldn't stop staring. Couldn't stop calculating months. Couldn't stop hoping and fearing in equal measure. When the lawyers finally left, only Adabo and Lena remained. Silence pressed between them like a living thing. Lena, don't, she said softly. Please don't. Is it mine? The question hung there, raw and desperate. Lena's hands moved protectively to her belly. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, "It doesn't matter. It matters to me." His voice cracked. The careful control he'd maintained for months shattered. "You pushed me away," Lena said, and now her voice trembled too. "In front of everyone. You made me feel like I was nothing. Like that moment between us." She stopped, breathed. "Like it meant nothing. I was protecting you. From what? From Sonia. From scandal. From being destroyed for being with me. So you destroyed me yourself instead?" Tears welled in her eyes. "You didn't even ask me what I wanted. You just decided I wasn't worth the risk. That's not. I spent my whole life being invisible, Adabo. Then you made me feel seen. Actually seen. And then you," her voice broke. "You made me invisible again." The truth of it hit him like a blow. She was right. He'd been so focused on protecting her that he never asked if she wanted his protection. Never gave her a choice. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry. I don't need your apology." Lena wiped her eyes, straightened her shoulders. "I needed you to choose me, to fight for me, but you chose safety instead. I choose you now. It's too late. Lena, I have to go." She gathered her bag, moved toward the door. Adabayo's hand caught hers, the first time they'd touched in 6 months. The contact burned. "Please," he said, "let me fix this." "How?" "However you need me to." Lena looked down at their joined hands, then up at his face. "Sonia," she said simply. That evening, Adabo called Sonia to his mansion. Staff gathered in doorways, sensing drama. "We're done," he told her. No preamble. No explanation. Sonia laughed. "You can't be serious." "I've never been more serious." "Because of her?" Sonia's voice turned venomous. "That cleaning girl? You're throwing away everything we built for." "We didn't build anything," Adabo said quietly. "You built an image. A performance. But I don't love you, Sonia. I never did. And you love her?" "Yes." The word fell like a stone. Sonia stared at him, fury and disbelief warring on her face. Then she turned to where Lena stood in the hallway. Because yes, Adabo had called her there too. "You." Sonia's voice echoed. "Don't you dare." But this time Lena didn't step back. This time she stood tall. "Don't you dare touch that with your dirty hands." Sonia's own words, thrown back at her. The moment crystallized. Power shifted. And everyone saw it.